All right, welcome to another deep dive. We are diving into the crypto markets. We're going to be talking with a trader named Nico.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so over the last couple of weeks, he's been recording his thoughts.
Interesting.
We're going to kind of unpack those, uh, try to get inside the head of a pro trader and see how he navigates these wild ups and downs in the crypto market.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Like, how do they think?
Yeah, what's their strategy? What's the psychology behind it? Maybe we can even glean a thing or two to apply to our own crypto journeys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this is kind of like almost like a real-time behind-the-scenes look. As the market's moving, we're hearing what's going on in this guy's, head.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and it starts with a bang. Right out of the gate, Nico's talking about this thing called a short squeeze
Okay.
that sent Bitcoin skyrocketing, like from around $91,000 to over $103,000.
That's big.
Yeah, so can you break that down for us? What exactly is a short squeeze?
Okay, so a short squeeze. Basically, what happens is you got a lot of traders that are betting against an asset, like Bitcoin in this case.
Right.
So essentially, they're borrowing Bitcoin and selling it right away, hoping that the price will go down.
Oh, okay.
So they can buy it back at a lower price and make a profit for that difference.
Gotcha.
But the problem is, if the price starts going up instead of down,
Oh.
these traders are forced to buy back that Bitcoin.
To cover their yeah.
Exactly, to cover their losses, and that buying frenzy pushes the price even higher.
So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. It is.
The more people that try to short it and fail, the higher the price goes.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's what's interesting for us. If you can spot those signs of a short squeeze early on,
Right.
you can maybe ride that wave and make some serious gains.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? Ride the wave.
For sure.
Now, he actually took a screenshot during this short squeeze that shows the price, like plummeting.
Wow.
And then suddenly reversing.
Oh, wow.
And he mentions massive liquidations happening. So what are liquidations and how do they play into this?
Okay, so imagine you're one of those traders who shorted Bitcoin, right?
Okay.
But you're using leverage.
Okay.
So leverage is essentially borrowing money from the exchange.
Oh, okay, to like amplify your bets.
Yeah,
To amplify
you
your bet.
amplify your bet.
Gotcha.
Now, it can magnify your profits if you're right,
Sure.
but it can also magnify your losses if you're wrong.
Oh, boy.
So if the price moves too far against you and you don't have enough collateral, you get liquidated,
Oh.
which means the exchange automatically closes your position to prevent you from owing them money.
Wow. So basically these liquidations added fuel to the fire.
Exactly.
During this short squeeze, right?
Yeah, they just pushed it up even higher.
Wow. Okay, and speaking of fear,
Yeah.
Nico talks about this fear zone around that $91,000 mark.
Okay.
For Bitcoin, and he was trying to figure out, is all this selling coming from people that already own Bitcoin? Like, are they just getting out?
Right.
Or is it new traders coming in and shorting it? Why is that distinction important?
It's important because it tells us a lot about the overall market sentiment.
Okay.
If the selling was mostly from existing holders, it might mean they're losing confidence in
Right.
Bitcoin. But if it was mostly new short sellers jumping in, that should mean they think it's going to drop even further.
Okay.
So it gives us a little bit of insight.
Interesting. So what did he conclude? Panic selling or new shorts?
He concluded that it was mostly from existing holders,
Oh, okay.
not new shorts.
So that's actually a good sign, right?
It's a good sign, yeah.
It's not like people think it's going down.
Exactly.
It's just people,
Taking profits, maybe.
taking profits. Or maybe they're just like, I don't like this. I'm out.
Yeah, maybe getting scared.
Yeah.
A little bit of fear.
So even in a volatile market, if you can try to understand the psychology behind these movements,
Yeah, that's key.
it can give you an edge.
Absolutely. And that's what I think is so valuable about Nico's insights here.
Yeah.
We see how he interprets these signals and makes decisions based on that data and that sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just looking at charts and, technical analysis. It's trying to read the emotions of the market.
It's like a whole other layer of analysis.
Yeah, for sure. Now, while Bitcoin was having this, dramatic rebound, he noticed that Ethereum wasn't showing the same strength.
Right.
And that's interesting because they usually move pretty closely together.
Yeah, what's going on there? Is it losing its appeal or is it just a temporary thing?
Yeah, I mean, some people are even saying, is this the death of Ethereum? Which seems extreme.
A little bit extreme.
Yeah, especially when the entire market has been, down for months.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear predictions of boom and doom all the time.
Right.
Just got to form your own opinion. Don't get swept up in all that.
Good advice. So, despite this recent, underperformance, he actually thinks it's undervalued
Oh, okay.
and could see big gains in the coming weeks. But he doesn't really go into, why he thinks that.
That's interesting, right? Like sometimes sentiment isn't always rational.
Yeah.
Things change, sometimes the weak becomes strong and vice versa. Do your research, don't follow the crowd.
Okay. Good advice. All right, so let's talk about Solana.
Okay.
He's a big fan, and he was highlighting its ability to handle massive transaction volumes, even when things get, really crazy.
So, it's known for its speed and its scalability. It can process way more transactions per second than Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Right, right.
Which makes it really appealing for applications that need those fast, cheap transactions.
Yeah, and he uses this example. There's a meme coin, I think it was called the Trump coin,
Okay.
which is a meme coin that suddenly exploded.
Wow.
And, so it really put Solana to the test.
Yeah, so these meme coins, as the name suggests, they're often based on jokes or internet trends.
Right.
And they can just, explode in popularity really fast.
Right, because of social media, right?
Yeah, social media and the fear of missing out, FOMO.
Right, right.
And that just puts a ton of stress on the blockchain.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good test, right? And he's saying that Solana held up, just fine.
Oh, cool.
Which he sees as a really good sign of its strength.
Yeah.
He does say that, the speed and scalability come with trade-offs.
Of course.
Especially when it comes to decentralization.
Right. That's super important to remember.
Yeah.
Decentralization is like the core of crypto.
Yeah.
It means that no single person or entity controls the network, makes it resistant to censorship and manipulation.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes to get those super fast transactions, you have to sacrifice a little bit of decentralization.
So it's kind of a balancing act.
It is.
Like a lot of things in the crypto world.
As an investor, you got to be aware of these trade-offs when you're evaluating all these different cryptos out there.
Right, right. Speaking of high risk, high reward,
Yeah.
he also spent some time talking about shit coins and meme coins.
Okay.
Those tokens that can pop up literally overnight
Right.
and sometimes disappear just as fast.
Like a flash in the pan.
Yeah, yeah. Driven by speculation and FOMO.
Yeah. They might have funny names, catchy memes.
Right.
But rarely do they have any real underlying value.
Right. And he even shares a story of about a quick profit he made from a meme coin with this crazy name. I think it was called Stole plus Dodent.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
And the ticker symbol was Jail Stolded.
Sounds like something out of a fantasy novel or something.
I know. And he was like, if you're going to play in this space,
Yeah.
you got to get in and out fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the hype can fade so quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like a hot potato. You want to hold it when it's gained value, but you don't want to be left holding it when
it's worthless.
When it's worthless, yeah.
Yeah, and he mentions these platforms called Pump Fun and Moonshot.
Okay.
What are those?
So those are decentralized exchanges specifically for trading these early-stage, high-risk tokens.
So like the Wild West of crypto trading.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
New coins are listed with minimal debting.
Right.
The price swings are crazy.
Right.
It's an interesting place.
Yeah, and he's clearly, he enjoys, I think, dipping his toes in these waters.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't?
But he understands the risks.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No, you got to have a strong stomach for this.
Okay, so now let's shift gears. We're going to go from micro to macro.
Okay.
He starts talking about, his broader economic analysis. And this is where things get really interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's talking about massive global debt, rising inflation, possibility that central banks are just going to keep printing money.
Right.
It's really interesting to see those connections between the crypto world and what's happening in the broader economy.
Yeah, for sure.
And, he seems particularly worried about whether the current financial system is even sustainable.
Right.
He's pointing to, this disconnect between the real economy,
right,
where people are producing and consuming goods and services,
yeah,
and the financial markets, where prices seem to be driven by speculation and algorithms.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah. So, the question is, if it's flawed, can crypto offer a viable alternative?
Big question.
Yeah. And he uses this analogy of a stretched rubber band about to snap back.
Uh-oh.
Right. He's suggesting that we're heading for this major reset.
Okay.
This potential redistribution of wealth as these imbalances correct themselves.
And that ties into this whole Great Reset narrative, right?
Exactly.
Like a lot of people are talking about that.
Yeah. Which is, it's a complex idea, It's got a lot of different interpretations.
Absolutely, yeah.
But at its core, I think the idea is that, we're in a period of major change.
Yeah, the old power structures are being challenged.
Yeah, yeah. So, thought-provoking idea for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think this sets the stage perfectly for, the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, cool.
We're going to explore, how crypto might fit into this changing landscape.
Yeah.
And what role it could play in this potential great reset.
I'm excited to keep going.
Me too.
All right, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We're going to unpack Nico's analysis of the global economic system.
Yep.
And see what he thinks about crypto's role in shaping the future of finance.
All right, see you part 2.
Sounds good. Welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive with Nico.
Yeah, we left off. He was starting to, paint this picture of some pretty big economic shifts.
Right.
Happening on a global scale. So let's see where he takes us from here.
Okay, let's do it.
He gets into some, pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about central banks creating money out of thin air.
Right.
To prop up markets and economies.
Right.
But he seems worried about, the long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Of, devaluing currencies, fueling inflation.
Right. So how does this affect crypto?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Does it matter for crypto?
That's a good question. A lot of people are asking that. Nico seems to think that it does.
Okay.
He sees cryptocurrencies as a potential alternative to the traditional financial system.
Right.
One that's, less susceptible to manipulation by these central banks.
Right.
So think about it. If governments keep printing money, the purchasing power of that money goes down.
Right.
But Bitcoin has a fixed supply.
Right.
So it might hold its value better.
Yeah. So it's almost like a hedge against inflation.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he goes even further.
Oh, really?
He's suggesting that crypto could actually play a role in this great reset that he keeps talking about.
Okay.
It's like he sees this power shift happening, with existing financial systems being challenged by this new decentralized form of finance.
Right. So he's saying it could be part of a new foundation.
Yeah, like a new foundation for the global economy.
Wow, that's a big idea.
Yeah, and it's a big idea. I mean, who knows?
I mean, it's still early days, right?
It's early days, right?
A lot of challenges ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the crypto market is still young.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty. But just the fact that, people are thinking about these possibilities.
Right.
It shows how much the landscape is changing.
Yeah, it really is. It's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. So he focuses on these, the huge amounts of debt that governments and individuals are carrying.
Right.
And how, with rising interest rates,
yeah,
it's even harder to pay that back.
Right.
He says, governments have these tough choices.
Yeah.
They could raise taxes, which people don't like.
Yeah.
Or print even more money.
Right, which is, more inflation.
Yeah, more inflation.
Yeah.
So, and he seems to think this is creating this opportunity for, alternative systems.
Okay.
Like crypto.
Yeah.
To gain traction.
Yeah, because they operate independently of governments and central banks.
So it's like a flight to safety.
A little bit, yeah.
But instead of, gold, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like a digital gold, right?
Right.
People are looking for ways to protect their wealth, especially when things are uncertain.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, then he starts talking about like the distribution of wealth and assets.
Okay.
And he uses this comparison with France to other European countries. And he points out like fewer people own their homes in France.
Okay.
And a lot of French people have their savings tied up in life insurance.
Oh, okay.
But he seems concerned that those savings could be at risk if the government needs to raise money.
Right.
To, deal with its debt problems.
Right, to pay off the debt.
Yeah, is he saying the government might try to take people's savings?
He doesn't say that, but he's definitely like raising some concerns about, government intervention in private savings.
Yeah.
It's like a fear, right? When things are bad.
Right.
That governments might do something drastic.
Right.
And that's part of what's driving people towards crypto.
Right. It's like your backup plan.
Yeah.
You're a financial life raft outside the traditional system.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so he's saying like as long as, central banks keep creating money.
Yeah.
The value of currencies is going to keep going down.
Right.
It's going to push up the price of everything.
Yeah. Real estate, gold, groceries, you name it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he's so bullish on crypto, right?
Yeah.
He thinks it can be that hedge against inflation.
Right.
A store of value.
And then he uses this French term, planche à billets.
Okay.
Which basically means money printing press.
Okay, got it.
To describe, like, he think that's their solution to every problem.
Let's print more money.
But he's skeptical.
Yeah.
He's like, are they going to keep doing this forever?
Right.
Or are they going to, at some point, try to like reduce their balance sheets?
Oh, okay.
Which would probably mean raising interest rates even higher.
Right. So it's like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's this big debate, right?
It is a big debate.
Central banks are walking this tightrope.
Yeah.
They're trying to, control inflation without crashing the economy.
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
And, it's not an easy balance.
Right.
Raising interest rates can help with inflation.
Right.
But it can also slow down economic growth.
Right. So he seems to be saying, like, we're at this tipping point
Okay.
where these old ways of managing the economy might not work anymore.
So what do we do?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, big question.
It's like we're at a crossroads.
It feels like it.
And nobody knows which way to go.
A lot of uncertainty.
So then he brings in, like, geopolitical analysis.
Okay.
Which adds, another layer to everything.
Right. Another layer of complexity.
He talks about the war in Ukraine, mentions Trump demanding that Ukraine reimburse the U.S. for billions of dollars in aid.
Wow.
So what does this have to do with crypto?
Yeah, what's the connection?
It seems like a little bit of a tangent at first.
Yeah.
But he's connected the dots.
Oh, okay.
Between, geopolitics
right.
and economics.
Okay.
He's saying, global conflicts like that have economic consequences.
Of course, yeah.
Right? They disrupt supply chains.
Yeah.
They impact trade.
Yeah.
Lead to higher prices for, commodities like energy and food.
Right. Everything's connected.
And those disruptions can drive people towards alternative financial systems.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this ripple effect.
Right.
Right.
Conflict leads to economic instability.
Right.
Which fuels interest in crypto.
Right, as a safe haven.
Interesting.
And then he brings up Trump's focus on, like, securing rare earth minerals.
Okay.
Which are essential for all these technologies.
Yeah, smartphones, electric cars, all that.
Yeah. So why is that relevant?
Yeah, good question.
So he's saying that rare earth minerals are a strategic resource.
Right.
And, countries are competing to get them.
Oh, wow.
And he seems to be suggesting this is part of this, like, power shift happening.
Okay.
On the global stage. He talks about, the tables turning.
Right.
How the old centers of power might be losing their grip.
Interesting.
So it's like a game of chess.
Right.
It is, yeah. Like where the pieces are being rearranged. And nobody knows who's going to win.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And he thinks cryptocurrencies could play a role in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how so?
He sees them as a tool for, individuals to gain more control of their finances.
Right.
And to operate outside of these traditional systems.
Yeah.
That might be failing or becoming, less trustworthy.
Right.
He even uses this term zero-sum game, suggesting that, for some people to win, others have to lose. Uses this stretched rubber band analogy again.
Okay.
Implying that the tension is building.
Yeah.
And, at some point, there's going to be this snapback.
Uh-oh.
This redistribution of wealth and power.
That sounds kind of dramatic.
I mean, it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a reflection of, I think, a lot of people's uncertainty and anxiety.
Yeah.
Feeling right now.
The old systems, they're breaking down.
Yeah.
The future's unpredictable.
Yeah, and he ends this part of his analysis with this really interesting question.
Okay.
Who had it right all along?
What do you think he means by that?
I don't know. I think he's challenging us to question our assumptions about the world.
Right.
The events of the past few years, the pandemic, the war,
Yeah.
the economic turmoil, it's shaken a lot of people's faith
Yeah.
in those old systems and narratives.
Yeah.
And he's asking us to be open to new ideas.
Yeah.
To consider these alternative perspectives.
Yeah, be open-minded.
And be willing to adapt.
Yeah, I like that.
This rapidly changing world.
The world's changing fast, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone from short squeezes to the Great Reset.
We've covered a lot.
I know. Where do we go from here?
Well, in the last part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we're going to look at what he's doing with his money.
Okay.
And how he's preparing for the future.
All right. So we've covered a lot with Nico.
We have.
From the nitty-gritty of trading to some pretty, like, big picture economic ideas.
Yeah, like some big concepts there.
Yeah, but I'm curious now, what's he actually doing?
Right.
With all this knowledge, like, how's he putting his money where his mouth is?
Yeah, it's one thing to talk the talk.
Right.
But is he walking the walk?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and it sounds like he is. He's not just like an armchair analyst.
Okay.
He's out there making trades.
Oh, cool.
He's experimenting with new platforms, even working on his own projects.
Wow, so he's really, like, embracing that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
that's out there.
Yeah. It's not just about investing. It's about, like, building and creating.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So he mentions this project he's working on.
Oh, cool.
Related to DeFi, decentralized finance.
Okay.
He doesn't give us all the details, but he seems really passionate about it.
Right, right.
Just to remind folks, can you break down what DeFi is all about?
Okay, so basically DeFi is about like recreating those traditional financial services, like
Right.
lending and borrowing and trading.
Right, right.
But doing it on the blockchain without the need for banks or other intermediaries.
Right.
So you're cutting out the middleman.
Right. So you're not going to a bank to get a loan. You're going to some platform.
Yeah, like a DeFi platform.
Yeah, you're borrowing from other people.
Exactly. And you might be trading, tokens on a decentralized exchange instead of stocks on like a regular brokerage.
Right, right.
It's all about like peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And it's still early days, right?
Very early days.
But it's one of the fastest growing areas.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fascinating how he's weaving together, like, those macro trends we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Money printing, debt, geopolitical shifts.
Right.
With what he's actually doing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you realize these things aren't happening in isolation.
No.
It's all, like, interconnected.
And that's, I think, like a big takeaway from listening to Nico and our whole deep dive here.
Yeah.
The world's becoming so complex.
Yeah.
And you really have to connect the dots
Yeah.
and understand how things in one area can really impact others.
Yeah.
And I think his approach, looking at the big picture and the specific details,
Right.
it's a great model for anyone, who wants to navigate this new world.
Yeah, I think what I appreciate about his perspective is he's not, like, trying to predict the future.
Right.
He's acknowledging the uncertainty, the unknowns.
Yeah.
Right. But he's not letting that paralyze him.
Right. He's not sitting still.
No. He's embracing the possibilities.
Yeah, I like that.
And taking action.
And that's a good way to be, in a world that's changing so fast.
Yeah.
Like, instead of clinging to, old ways of thinking,
Right.
he's adapting, experimenting, and learning.
Yeah.
And we can all learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Nico's world, here's the final thought.
Okay.
If these traditional systems are indeed in flux, right, if this great reset is happening, what role will you play in shaping the future?
That's the question, right? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, will you be a passive observer?
Right.
Or will you be an active participant?
I like the sound of active participant better.
Yeah, I mean, seizing the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Navigating the risks.
For sure.
I think, this deep dive has given us some, valuable tools.
Absolutely. And some food for thought, right?
Yeah, to start, forming our own answers.
Yeah, I think so.
So whether you're, a seasoned crypto trader.
Yeah.
Or just starting to explore, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what's happening in finance.
Absolutely.
And the role that you can play in it.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you understand,
Yeah.
the better decisions you can make.
Yeah.
And, you can navigate all these changes that are coming.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll catch you next time.
Oh.